Good day. This is the second video in a series on how to strengthen yourself in the Lord. In order to be able to successfully come through difficult periods in your life, you need to be able to minister to yourself and take care of your spirit. You must be able to apply this one important principle in your life. 1 Samuel 30 verse 6 says, David was greatly distressed, for his own people spoke of stoning him, because they were bitter in their souls, each for his sons and daughters. But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. So let us look at what David did to strengthen himself. I think at this time when David was at the lowest point in his life, he went back in his mind to that moment when Samuel called David from attending his father's sheep and anointed him to be the next king of Israel. I'm sure the first thing that he did was he reminded himself and he reminded God that God promised him that he will be the next king of Israel. He knew that this could not be his end because God has spoken into his life. Now, I may not know anything about you, but I'm pretty sure that God has given you at least one personal promise or word somewhere in your life. At the time that you have received it, you knew that this was a word from God to you. Like David, you need to learn to stand on those promises no matter what life throws at you. You need to get into the habit of revisiting the promises of the Lord regularly, and especially in times of difficulty, when the enemy wants to sow seeds of doubt in your heart. If God has spoken into your spirit and He gave you a word, you need to strengthen yourself with that promise, and you must take responsibility to remind God of His promises to you. Isaiah 62 verse 6 teaches this. It says, you must remind the Lord of His promises and never let Him forget them. You need to realize that if God has given you a word, everything that looks like it is in conflict with that word is a lie. Paul says in Romans 3 verse 4, let God be true, but every man a liar. Even if it looks like it will destroy you, it cannot, because God has given you a promise. That is what made Paul stand strong through the storm in Acts 27. The Bible says all the people on the ship had lost hope that they will be saved. But Paul had a word from God that he would stand trial before Caesar. So he could speak with confidence and took control of the situation. You may even look at the storm in front of you, the situation you are dealing with right now. It may be reality, but it is not truth. It doesn't matter what happens or what the situation is. The only truth is what God says. John 17 says, His word is the truth. I want to close with Numbers 23 verse 19, and it says, God is no mere human. He doesn't tell lies or change His mind. God always keeps His promises. So if God has given you a promise, the first thing you can do to strengthen yourself is to revisit the promises that God has given you in your life and strengthen your spirit with that. I'll be back next time to teach you another principle.